Hey, 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 hey. So I have like the most scuffed setup today imaginable. Um, so we'll see how this goes. I I'm working on my Mac Mini today. Usually I have an iMac, no, MacBook and my kind of presenting display, and I forgot that, it's kind of things get kind of weird when you only have one display and you're trying to stream. So we'll see how it goes. Hello, it's been a minute. Glad that we're back together. Today, I'm going to jump right into it because I have a couple of projects that I am hoping to work on. So I figured I would do that today since that's something that we can all learn from if I can get these stupid overlays out of the way. So, kind of a recent failing of mine was uh, React Holiday. I got most of the way through, and then we had like a bunch of things happen, and I kind of failed. But the component that we were building was this component right here, and I don't remember exactly how far we got. Let me see. I know that we got through most of it. Honestly, I think we got through maybe the debounce function was maybe the last video that I produced on it. So we didn't get to extracting custom hooks. Totally fine. Um, but something that I wanted to go into is that I actually delivered this as a conference talk or conference workshop at React Rally this past year. And there was something that I did as a demonstration of like how to use AI in building out components. And I never returned to it, but there was some really interesting feedback that I wanted to, I guess, validate and then implement into the component. So that is what I'm going to do today, kind of extending these lessons beyond just the stuff that was makes the component work visually, and see how we can improve this from an accessibility standpoint. So let's dive right in. I had pasted in, I guess, just for historical context. Um, let's see. This is a very, very, very old thread on here. Um, okay, you're an accessibility auditor. Any questions? Okay, so just I had set up the expectations of the feedback that I was looking for, and it repeated it back to me with some clarifications, and then it gave me a bunch of information that I didn't ask for. Totally fine. Okay, so here's the first component. It allows a user to visually show more or less of the context. Import React from React. Okay, and so then I just dumped in the full component, and as far as I can tell, that more or less matches this sandbox that I have. Thank you for the like. This sandbox that I have right here. So that's what we're going through to see if we can do this. Now, if you haven't seen this component yet, we built it up via React Holiday. It is a show, like a show more, show less, read more, read less. It's always hard to find names for things that have like kind of like Boolean values or comparative in nature. But what this does is it just kind of allows you to kind of visually truncate a paragraph or whatever. And here, let me give it some more. It's just not a lot to work with here. Man, I would love for Stack Blitz to learn Vim, even just like the small modicum of Vim would be really helpful. But yeah, so this is what this component does. It's kind of deceptively challenging in React specifically. Kind of shows some of the challenging shortcomings of manipulating the DOM in React. But as you can see, it visually truncates that, and then in the event that there is less content, it will hide and then show itself or hide itself if it's resized and into a position where it needs to show that again. That was nonsensical. Okay, so that's the component. Pretty simple for the most part, but it seemed like there were some accessibility improvements that we can make. So that is what I'm after today. Okay, so great. Let's review show more component for accessibility improvements. So button accessibility. So make sure the button has an accessible name. Right now, it's switching between read more and read less, which is good. However, for clarity, you can add an ARIA label with more descriptive text, especially if the component is reused multiple times on a page. Okay. Interesting. So I don't... Hey, what's up? Naive Coder, good to see you. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Henri from Canada. Good to see you. Good to see you. What you doing in Canada? I don't know. I think I'm gonna see. I registered for Carlsbad 5K. So, and I'm actually like practicing and stuff. So, maybe I'll see you there. And yeah, I'd love to know if you're actually gonna go to that. That'd be sweet. Okay, so back to this. Okay, so yeah, we do have the name read more, read less. I think this is a good suggestion, but not particularly relevant to this component, I don't think. Let me double check though. Okay, so it is encoded into the component, so it is relevant in that it's, you don't have an option. I think my inclination would be to allow someone to change this before kind of like codifying some type of like accessibility concerns into it. That is a little bit of a toughie. Additionally, kind of inverting control over this so that someone can provide their own button, I think would probably be the ideal, because then they can do whatever the heck they want. So I think I'm going to list that as something that we can improve accessibility just by changing the API of it. So we're going to invert control this button. Live here. I always forget because I see you, like, I'm not used to seeing people who are out of the country at so many US conferences. I think maybe that's I forget that you live up there. Because you just travel so dang much. Okay, yeah, so I think that's gonna be like, we can improve the button by improving the design of the component. Okay, so let's go back to that. So I think that's gonna solve number one satisfactorily for me. And we could, if we do decide that we need to add some ARIA stuff to this, like an ARIA label, because yeah, like the suggestion here is like show less content. That's definitely not more useful, but it is possible that we could make a more useful message. Like, actually, that's a good point. Like, so if we have, okay, now I'm thinking about this. So maybe add, so we could add an accessibility function to a default button that, what is this going to do? Maybe like offers the first couple words. This gets confusing really fast. Like this could just be a really dumb idea. And like I tend to, again, choose inversion of control over those because then you can do whatever you want. So I'm going to skip that for now. Because like I feel that twinge where it's like I'm gonna make something and it's gonna be super complicated and I'm gonna feel good about it, but it's gonna be absolutely useless in practice. So we're gonna avoid that. Prefer inversion of control. Let someone provide their own button. Okay, animation and transitions. Some users prefer not to have animations. You can respect the user's prefers reduced motion setting. This is good, and I think that we could add it pretty quickly. Okay. So what is it suggesting to us? So cons prefers reduced motion is going to use window match media. We have a little query in there, matches. Okay, so it's going to do a check there. And then I guess check that transition prefers none. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, interesting. That's not a bad suggestion. I'm gonna note. So prefers. Is that reduced motion? Is that what it is? Prefers a reduced motion check. Reduced motion check. Okay. Okay, hopefully I don't dox myself with these like settings or whatever, but reduced motion. Is that in here? Okay, reduce motion, yes. How do I actually enable it though? Motor, hearing, vision, display, reduce motion. Okay, cool. So now we have that on. Let's see if we can. Okay, clearly it's not going to do anything because we aren't observing that right now. But let's see if we can grab this and just do it the way that they said. Now this is going to run that check. If we just copy and paste this in, it's going to run that check every time we... Let's see, where's that going to go, by the way? Okay, right here. Okay, let's just do it like this, just because that's what it says to do. We're going to grab that line, and then we're going to grab this replacement line for the transition itself. And we're going to see if that works. Okay, transition. Okay. Formatted. Let's see if it works. Oh, that is rad. Love that. And then let's turn this back on. Pff, damn. That's sick and easy. Love that. Love it. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Love that. So we have that prefers reduced motion. That's in there. I'm trying to think if there is... Okay, so it's going to run this check every time. It would be good to extract that out into a hook because then we can reuse it. So that's going to go into the list. We're going to pull that out into a hook. Not particularly interesting work right now. Cool. Trucking along. That's a good suggestion. Love that. Number 2 is a banger. Okay, indicating expandable content. Okay, add the ARIA expanded attribute to the button to indicate the state of the content. Screen readers will announce the state change to the user. Okay. I need to know how I can easily test this. Doop, 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 doop. I don't think I can very well in the environment that I am in. So that's going to be a question for me. So how can I... So how can we test ARIA expanded? I'd love to I feel like in an environment that I fully control, I'd love to use something like, Playwright or Testing Library for this to double check some of those things. But I guess we can just check visually to see that the tag changed. So it does say that screen readers will announce this. Now, ARIA expanded. I have a question. Let's see. So ARIA expanded. Does that go on the button? I'm like, I never know about any of this stuff. Let's double check. Yeah, because there's this whole like ARIA controls, ARIA owns, etc. So ARIA expanded does go on the button. And I think you say what element it controls. This is not advice, by the way. I'm just learning this as we go along. So let's see. So ARIA expanded. Okay, let's try that. So let's just set up the state for it right now. Okay, so we know when it's expanded already. So we have that state. It might have already suggested this to me. So yeah, ARIA expanded. Okay, cool. So let's copy that real quick. ARIA expanded. This is going to go on our button. So our button is accreting some more things. So having a default is going to be nice. So expanded. Okay, no problem. So let's see if it's expanded. So if we investigate this, inspect it, we should see true. Yes. And that changes to false. Yes. Perfect. Okay. Good. Let's see. Okay. So let me see if they go into ARIA controls. I say they as if this is a person and not collective peoples of the internet. Okay, so it doesn't go into that. So let's take a look at MDN and see where we're at. ARIA expanded. The ARIA expanded attribute is set on an element to indicate if a control is expanded or collapsed, or whether or not the controlled elements are displayed or hidden. Okay. There's several widgets that can be expanded and collapsed, indicating menus, dialogues, and accordion panels. Each of these objects in turn has an interactive element that controls their opening and closing. The ARIA expanded attribute is applied to this focusable interactive control that toggles the visibility of the object. For example, ARIA expanded is applied to the parent item in a DOM tree to indicate whether its child branch is shown. The parent controls the visibility of the associated child branch as well. Here are two declarations that can be applied to objects that control the visibility of another object. ARIA controls and ARIA owns, combined with ARIA expanded. The ARIA controls and ARIA owns indicate the relationship between the controlling element and the controlled element. Controlling and controlled. The ARIA expanded indicates to assistive technology whether the controlled element is expanded or collapsed. Use the ARIA owns property on the element that owns on the elements that own expandable grouping containers. If the expandable and collapsible grouping container is not owned by the element that has ARIA expanded attribute, use the ARIA controls property to reference the grouping container instead. Good Lord. Man, I hate it when I read something and I'm like, I'm going to have to read it again until I understand it. Okay, use the ARIA owns property. Okay, so use ARIA owns if the elements that own the expanded grouping on elements that own expandable grouping containers. That own expanding. Okay, I might have to just. Okay, own expandable grouping containers. I'm not totally sure what that means. The expandable and collapsible grouping container is not owned by the element. Is owning like kind of like its relationship to things in the DOM, maybe? ARIA expanded attribute, use the ARIA controls property to reference the group container instead. Okay, I think that's what it feels like, but let's validate that. What's up? What's up, Travis? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, Ben knows everything. Ben knows everything. Yeah, man, I do have to say, like, you know, ARIA is a pretty technical thing, right? And you have to use a lot of technical terminology, but it's like, it's not terminology that we're often exposed to. I think it is additionally tricky because there's like DOM hierarchy, ownership, you know, by descendants and whatnot. But then there's also this kind of like accessibility tree thing, and sometimes relationships are different. At least that's how I perceive them. So let's see if we can sort some of this out. So, okay, so there are a couple examples here. A button that opens a widget should have ARIA controls set to the ID of the expandable widget and ARIA expanded set to the current state of the widget. Okay, yes. Okay, it's connected via ID. When the widget is visible, the controlling object relays that information to information via having ARIA expanded set on it. The accessible name of the controlling object should reflect the change. Yes. Okay, so we have that part. We're not connected by ID, but we have that part. So when a menu is displayed, so menu, when a menu is displayed, the button object that toggles the visibility of the ARIA. Okay, this isn't a menu though, so I want to make sure that I'm not like in the wrong category of things altogether. It's parent menu item. Okay. Combo box, by default, some roles are hidden or collapsed. Others are open, expanded. Okay, so the events combo box button. And then what is this targeting? Control. So they're using controls, username, description right here. Okay, so these are not related in any way. They are like parallel siblings. Okay, note the presence of ARIA expanded attribute indicates controls. Avoid including it on the elements that do not control the expanded state of the other elements. Okay. Tree items. Each element with role tree item that serves as a parent node has an ARIA expanded false when the node is okay. False, true, and undefined are our options there. Associated roles, button, check, combo box, grid cell. Okay, so none of those are exactly what we're doing. Okay, so cool. Let's look at ARIA owns. Let's see if we can just jump to, okay, no examples on this one. An element or elements in order to define a visual, functional, or, okay, every element is the parent, sibling, or is the parent, sibling, or child of another element, the document object made up. Okay, so ARIA owns doesn't sound like it's for us. Global ARIA controls property identifies the element or elements whose contents or presence are controlled by the element on which the attribute is set. Okay, this does sound like it's for us. Let's look at an example just to be sure. Okay, so we have this span controls panel 1, controls panel 2. So where's the thing that's, there should be something that says expanded, right? I guess not. Yep, not in that code example. Okay. Okay, so how would we actually implement this? Okay, so ARIA expanded. So we put that on there. We need to use an ARIA controls. Breadcrumbs here. And then that's going to go on what? Let's look at this. ARIA controls. I guess it's this. Okay. Let me give it a really stupid name right now. And ARIA controls. Okay, now we're going to turn this off for now. Going to go into these nope, wrong one. Accessibility. Wish I had Firefox open right now. Okay, so in accessibility, we see ARIA expanded true, which adapts. Okay, clearly. If we go into this one, what do we see? This is the div, our ID, yo. We don't see any ARIA labels or attributes or anything like that. Okay, let's now turn this on and see if that changes. Looks like no. Cool. Oh, hey, got some more folks in here. Nice. Oh, so was on it. Let's see. Yeah, I think your intuition, I think's right. Like regex, if you do it enough, it makes sense. It sounds like a foreign language. Yeah, no, totally, 100%. I was just wondering if details elements needs this. Oh, good question. I feel like details is like already set up for all that kind of stuff. I could be wrong, but I think the reason that it exists is for that. And so like maybe your question is like, should this just be a detail element? Probably. Yes. That's a good point. I'm gonna put that down here. Like, so if it is just details, what do we what do we need to consider to make it like a React details, I guess. Yes. Cool. Yes, hello. B1Mind. Glad you're here. Let's see. So ARIA. Okay, so ARIA is just a hint to the accessibility tree to tell what JS is doing. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Because I mean, like, so we're using JavaScript to control the visual aspects of these elements, but we need to also tell like screen readers how to interpret them. And so like we're controlling them with JavaScript, which is, React or not, that's the tool that we have to do them. But then, yeah, screen readers can then interpret like what those values are once they are changed. Marco, thanks for being here. And yeah. Yeah. The four devs went out. Yeah, that went live today. That was super fun. Let's see. I wonder. Let's see if we can find it. YouTube, Jason Langsdorf. Let's see. Let's get there. Yeah, this video right here. Hysterical. I think. I mean, I was part of it. I thought it was fun. It's really good. Really good. Go watch it. Really good stuff. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's get back into. I'm gonna dive back into this. I think I got. Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. Okay. So now I didn't actually see anything change on this element, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't have enough experience here to know from an accessibility tooling, like how to determine if it was read properly. So that is a big question mark for me. Like, and again, I kind of alluded to it in this question right here. Is like, how do we actually test this so that we know that it worked? I think that's probably outside the scope of what we can do today. I want to make sure that we cover all of the points, at least raise all the questions that we need. Okay, so we have that. The ARIA controls is working. I'm not sure if I can see like a. Can we see it? Can we find a link to this thing? ARIA labeled by ARIA label. Okay, so it is linked here, and we can see that inside. Let's see if we go into component properties. I think it is. It controls div yo. So that's good. Let me see. Let's see controls. But yeah, we're not seeing a link on the other side. I'm not sure if we're supposed to be seeing link or not. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, that's good for now. Good for now. A lot of questions on that one. Mostly like, how do we test it? Is kind of the big question that I have. Okay. Content update feedback. For users relying on screen readers, when content is expanded, it might be helpful to notify them. Okay, so it might be helpful to notify them when content is expanded. An ARIA live region can be used here. However, use it cautiously to prevent too many announcements. Yes. Now, again, this is something that's actually really hard to test as well, because you can test that the property is there, but it's really hard to test it in like without opening the DevTools. Actually, when I had interviewed for the DX role at Chromatic, oops, did I not get that right? Storybook.js. Oh my gosh. Oh, all my I fully broke my keyboard. I'm playing with some like new I'm trying to introduce a hyper key. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but like carabiner elements, which is what I use to make configurations to my keyboard, has a hyper key modifier which takes caps lock and turns it into command control option shift. So like just like all of them. And I had used caps lock for control, and I'm a very avid user of like the control N, control P, for previous and next in options, and beginning of the line, end of an input, etc. And so I'm doing all kinds of weird stuff on accident right now. That's not right. So storybook.js.org. There we go. If we go to the community integrations, ARIA Live. Yes, ARIA Live regions. So I had actually, as part of my interview with them, made this, I think, cool little add-on that is designed to output what is said using these ARIA announcements. Now, ideally, you use something like ARIA Live region. Is that right? ARIA Live PMJS. I don't know what package it auto-completed to, but ARIA Live. I have a package in here somewhere. Aria. Okay. Anyway, clearly not going to find it that way. Maybe I'll link it here. Use Aria Live. Okay, here we go. So what this package does is that it actually sets. So the recommendation that they have is to do the Aria polite to announce it. But a more robust way of doing it is to actually have a DOM node or DOM nodes that live inside of your document. You want these to persist as long as they can. So like literally somewhere in the root. And then actually post messages to them. This is the best way that I've found to do this. And so I have a hook for it. So you can import polite Aria Live and assertive Aria Live components that you can put in your document. And then just like call these as functions anytime something happens. So on click, announce item added politely. This is probably the better way to do that. So I may... I have a question mark about that because it's kind of an incomplete recommendation. Aria, what is it? Aria Live polite. So I would want to test that and make sure that it actually like works because obviously, you know, they put a pretty big caveat on there around like, however, use it cautiously to prevent too many announcements. And that's one of the things that having a dedicated region is nice for, is that you can kind of control how all that stuff goes instead of each DOM kind of, or each element independently saying what it, you know, managing that. It's like a queue, a little queue. So yeah, or jump into use Aria Live. I mean, funny thing is, like, I don't really like that package is really more of like a demonstration than something like that's actually like a good package. Like, there's no tests or anything for it. It's just literally code. So not a great package, but it really is. You could copy and paste the implementation of it, and that part of it is good. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, sorry, catching up on the episode stuff. Yeah, the whole series, the 4 devs 1 app, is such a great thing. I love it. Such a great thing. Okay, let's see. Yes, yeah. There's this. The first time I was on Learn with Jason, we did like a little party parrot thing. That was good. That was good times. Let's see. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, hyperkey is so handy. Yes, I know. I'm the thing I'm liking about it, about the hyperkey is that I know that it's mine, with the exception of I did have to disable, what is it? There's like a translate to Chinese, simplified and traditional Chinese. So if I want to use Hyper C, I do have to disable that option. But for the most part, it's largely unused territory. So I do like that it's like, that's my layer. The hyper layer is mine. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'd be curious to get your thoughts on this, because I agree with you that caps to control is the way, right? But also I want a hyper key. And so this is what I was thinking. Man, this is so nerdy. So I was thinking, like, I've gotten so used to caps as control that my brain just thinks that's where it is. And I think I find control to be in like a kind of odd position. And so like all of my like claw muscle memory is all devoted to like caps control. And so I keep breaking everything now that I have moved that out and have hyper. Now my thinking is that hyper is going to be used less for me. And so I was thinking about doing something totally ungodly, which was to like keep caps as control and then map control to like caps lock. Uh and I'm not sure if that's just such a bad idea. I mean, it sounds like a bad idea, but I don't know. It would allow me to like migrate more easily, but then I don't know. Maybe I should just learn how to use control. I did make this transition in Vim a long time ago, where it's like I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to use the escape key, so I don't have to keep mapping over every key. Like part of the value of Vim is that you can run it on any machine and be effective at editing. So I'm just going to use the escape key and kind of incorporate that. And I do that now, but it took me a minute. So I don't know. Curious your thoughts. You don't mess with your keyboard at all. I don't think you're a weirdo. I mean, like, I would never say that you're a weirdo. I think that you know just being comfortable on a regular keyboard is a superpower in itself. Like, not having to have like a very special, like, personalized thing. But I think there's a lot of power in some of these customizations for sure. Let's see. I would have to make a right alt or something hyperkey on a standard layout because caps lock is control for life. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of leaning that way. Like, I really want, I want to get to like a standard control, but I'm feeling like maybe you're right. Let's see. Control to escape and escape to caps. Interesting. So escape would be my hyper key. So one thing that I did do in Carabiner for a little bit was, and I did it until I literally developed like RSI in my pinky, and it still hasn't, like, I mean, this was 10 years ago, hasn't fully recovered. But I would do, what was it? Tap to escape and hold as control. And that was pretty magical until I literally destroyed my pinky because I used it all the time. That's actually why I ended up getting one of those kinesis where it's like the controls under your thumb. But I don't know. I have such a hard time with that. Actually, speaking of, this is chaotic right now. I use 2 Apple keyboards. So we just talked about like the kinesis. I use 2 Apple keyboards, hilariously enough, with Carabiner, because I really loved the kind of split design of a kinesis keyboard. But I did find that anywhere that I wanted to be productive, I had to bring that stupid thing with me, and I hated that. I was doing a lot of kind of like in-person like tutorial education workshop stuff at the time as well, and I hated how much it kind of fragmented my muscle memory. I don't know. Yeah, Dvorak, I hate it. I want to go back to 11 years in the past and just grab myself by the shoulders and be like, Colmac is the way. Colmac is the way. Yeah, custom keyboards and Vim stuff all day. Watch out. I know. Maybe I should do that on one of these streams. I would like to do like a small course on just practical Vim stuff, because I think there's so much that you can gain from knowing just a little bit of Vim in any editor. I don't like it. It feels like it should just be normal. Like I can't even work with code if I don't have some like look at how stupid I feel just in this workspace, having to use a mouse. I mean, I guess it's better for demonstrating stuff, but okay. All right. Let's get back. Let's get back to this problem. Okay, so that feels like a big ball of wax. I'm not totally prepared to do that. Obviously, I mean, I know that this would work. So I just want to make sure that I am doing it the right way and not suggesting the wrong thing to people. But I think, this is the first step, totally fine, and a good recommendation nonetheless. Also, like, let's just like round of applause for the Chat GPT recommendations. I love it for this, where you give it some code and ask it a specific inquiry about how you can improve that code, and it's great. It's great. Let's see. Doop 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 doop. Where are we at? Okay, so I'm gonna call that one closed, because we know that this would work and that there is a clear path to doing it better. The visually hidden class should hide the content visually, but keep it accessible to screen readers. Common CSS for visually hidden is this. Visually hidden. Let's look at the code. I'm going to close this up real quick. I think that correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that recommendation may be irrelevant to this because we're not visually hiding anything completely. Yeah, we're not truncating it either, too. So it's a tricky one. I think I'd need to like ask some big guns on that one, because the content is available on the screen. We're just visually hiding it for layout. I don't know. That's a bigger one than I can answer. Okay, efficiency. In the note, you mentioned why the effect works with an empty dependency array. It's because the effect runs after the component renders and after the DOM updates. As a result, it captures the scroll height right after the component mounts. If you'd want it to update based on some of the other dependencies, you'd add them to the dependencies array. Yeah, and I think I did query it about performance as well, right? Here's the first component. Yep. Oh yeah. Where is it? Party library. Tell me how I can improve accessibility. So I'm an expert. Interesting. No, I don't think I did talk about performance. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Okay. It's just giving me freebies, I guess. Efficiency. Okay, so we know that about use effect. Probably not important for this phase. Avoid resize listener when unnecessary. If the content height is less than 100 pixels, there is no need to attach the resize event listener, as the button won't show. You can additionally apply, or conditionally apply based on the content height. Okay, so this, I was wondering if, what is it? Resize. So I'm using resize, but I could probably just use resize observer. I've never used this. I don't really know much about it, but it seems like this is probably a more efficient way to build this component. Let's see. Let's read about resize observer real quick. The resize observer interface reports changes to the dimensions of an element's content or border box or the bounding box of an SVG element. Observe, disconnect, unobserve. Actually, just did some stuff on intersection observer, also on the YouTube channel. If you, I don't have any use for intersection observer, Travis was here for that too. Thanks for your feedback on that. That was great. This looks very similar in terms of like API design with the disconnect, observe, and unobserve. Yeah, unobserve. So let's see. Yeah, I think the solution to this would be to use resize observer. use resize. Okay, I'll put some notes there. Doop, doop, doop. Okay, I think that would like improve the performance part of it. And then let's get through this list, and then I can quit jumping back and forth. So if a section is collapsed, ensure that the focus is not stuck in the hidden content. Okay. Ideally, collapsing the content should shift focus back to the button so users aren't confused or navigating hidden elements. So this is good feedback, but I'm not sure that focus changes, right? Like, so unlike just jumping around wildly, because if I have that button, the focus stays on the button, and not the content. See, this is a really okay. I legitimately have to ask someone about this, because it's a pretty advanced thing, right? Like, there's a question that I have of whether or not this is like, is this relevant at all to assistive technologies, right? Like, and that's the part that I don't know how to answer, because maybe ideally, like if we're building this out, like just strictly for, like if I'm thinking strictly for assistive technologies where I'm like, scanning various nodes on a page and, maybe listening for things that like pique my interest, I'm already kind of doing, it matters less how big that content is because I'm like listening for the preview of that thing and then maybe moving on to the next one if I know that it doesn't interest me. Now, it's only really like for the visual experience where you want to truncate all of those so that they don't clutter up the page visually, I think. In which case, like, do I need to like, is that okay though, where I like just leave all those sections like they're full section, or do I want to create preview sections for for each of these articles, or like a preview description for each of these articles, and then kind of promote that, and then have a button that focuses the full article or full article content? Man, this is like it becomes like a really big question that like just fully re-architects the component, which is, a very important lesson. Like, well, you can't like add this stuff after the fact. Yeah, all questions and no answers, unfortunately. So I'm gonna jump back to chat for a second. Let's see. Back to keyboards. Pinched ulnar nerve in my left and frayed rotator cuff to my right. Oof, gross. So it started my journey. So yeah, I'm now on a split in thumbs. So most of the work now control. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I may end up back on one of those like thumb keyboards. It just makes more sense to have all that stuff under your thumbs, really strong fingers and whatnot. I'm curious. Not quite sure where the best. Let's see, carabiner sim layers. I'm curious if you do this. John Lindquist has some really great material on this. The idea of having various modes, like a tab mode. I think that he has like various fingers set up. So, like a T mode and F mode and like whatever, and is using carabiner sim layers to do all that stuff. So you could do like, if you want to have like an app launcher layer, maybe that's open or A for application. You can hold down A and then tap, a mnemonic for whichever other app you want to open, and it would open that app. I love that idea. That idea sounds awesome. I had tried to set up Goku, which I think he uses for this EDN closure, was it extensible data notation or something. It's like basically a closure JSON. um, I had tried to set that up and I just couldn't. I couldn't for the life of me figure it out. I spent like half a day on it just yesterday, actually, and it was vicious. It was vicious to me. It was very unkind. But yeah, curious if you've played around with that. Vim is very storybook, right? Makes sense. I wrote resize observer and util for Bedrock. Oh, nice. Yeah, the things that you did for intersection observer would apply. Good to know. Blog post. Yeah, let's check this out. I don't know if I can copy paste that. Oh, dang it. It won't let me copy and paste. I'm sorry, Travis. From whatever view this is that I have inside of Ecamm Live. Let's see if we can find it. So non-traditional.dev. Okay, and then search. Let's see, what was it? Resize observer. Nice. Resize elements with confidence. How to fix resize observer API. Play this article. What the heck?
This audio blog is powered by Hangout, which is the easiest way to start a developer blog on a custom domain.
That's so cool. I dig this.
Audience.
I was actually just I was walking into the office today with my dog, and there was an article. Let's see. I think it was about like flight control and adopting Next.js app router, good, bad, and ugly, or something. And I really wanted to know what it said, but I had the dog and it was a pain. I was like, oh, I wish I could listen to this right now. I couldn't quite figure out the incantation that did it in Safari. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I want to add that to my site too. But yeah, cool. This is available. I might dive into this to see. This is good. It's good stuff, Travis. Thank you for sharing. Let's see. Yeah, I imagine you don't want to clutter up voiceover with all that content as well. Yeah, so it's like I'm kind of leaning towards like maybe I want a similar experience for the for voiceover, right? Like something that's like, hey, article preview reads the first handful of lines. Click to read more. That might be the ideal experience as well, in which case it's interesting because I assume that you would get that from navigating into the content, and you would need to have that preview available on the content, which kind of is a different truncation strategy than like what we have. So I'm not totally sure how to do that. Yes, I'm streaming on Twitch as well. I don't have the Chantastic username, so it's lunchdev. Twitch.tv/lunchdev is where I am streaming over there as well. So yeah, and then it looks like a lot of our friends are catching it from there. Let's see. Yeah, layers are great. I have all my numbers, symbols under layers, so I don't have to leave the home real often. That's great. I would maybe hit me up with some of your config, because I would love to borrow some of that from you. Are you using Goku, or are you using that weird like EDN closure syntax? Let's see. I use Carabiner and do like Alt Command key to launch various apps. Okay, nice. I like that a lot. Yeah, I've been doing that with so I had just set up some of those as well using the hyper key. So if I do in Raycast, so if I do hyper browser, that's going to open up the browser. If I do hyper, what I do editor, E for editor. It's going to bring up, whatever my current editor is, etc. Big fan of that. Big fan. I was just thinking that with the EDN approach, if I can get it hooked up, I have so many more, right? Like it's my full keyboard multiplied times my full keyboard again, which is awesome. And I do like that kind of like mental mnemonic thing of, you know, A layer. Now I have everything available except for A, obviously. I guess you could do like A space. That'd be like kind of like an interesting like double up type of thing. I don't know. I guess that's what we're gonna do next. Next, we're just gonna stream some of that stuff. I think that's. I really want to get it figured out. I really do. Um, Also, other media keys, arrows. Yes. So many fun things that you can do when you start like opening up the keyboard. Like I was thinking about, I've always used these, smaller keyboards, and they lack a number pad, but I do love a 10 key. I think it's the easiest way to import or type numbers. And so to have like a layer for like a 10 key that's just like, right on there, that'd be pretty sick. Hey, hey. Sudoku? It's like Sudoku, but or is it S Joku? Joker. I didn't even read the R. I'm not sure. I was thinking about Goku, the whole like EDN thing. Let's see. Austin Gill, what's up? Good to see you. Glad you're here. It's also on Twitch, so you can go to twitch.tv/lunchdev. I wish I could get Shantastic, but I can't. So yeah, from the lunch dev kind of naming. Yeah. Hey. Yes, awesome. Yeah. Send it to me in Discord. That'd be great. Thank you so much. Found it. Great. Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, let's see. So it's 11:15. Let's see what we want to do next. I'm curious. I could go either way. Let me know if you think it'd be fun. Like if we kind of covered this enough. I think that all those suggestions are good. I'm at a point personally where I feel like before I do any more work on the actual component, I want to talk with someone who is like an expert user of accessibility tools and or like assistive technologies, and kind of figure out what the ideal user experience would be for the assistive technologies, and then build a parallel experience for that. Because I think that we have fleshed out the best user experience for those using vision to navigate this, but using audio, it seems like a totally different thing, and I want to make sure that I understand like kind of like how that would come across, what some of the best practices would be for preview type content in that context. And so I don't want to like push any more into like just making my component work and treating that as a second class experience. I'd want to actually like figure that out. So I'm ready to kind of like move on, unless there was something else that we wanted to play with, like maybe the resize observer stuff. The next thing that I kind of had in mind was I am working on a potential, and I have about, I don't know, probably like 30 minutes left. We're going to potential Git course. And I was just going to go through and kind of touch up on some of these notes, see what works, what doesn't. And yeah, if you're interested, I'd love your feedback on that. And so I think I might go that route, unless there's any major objections. Yeah, what are we doing? So I was working on a component, the component that I did for React Holiday, React.holiday. I'm hoping to turn this into kind of like a course that I offer. I'd also done some. Oh, there we go again. Press the wrong buttons. Control set in such a weird spot. I had done some videos just kind of like building out this component. Something I love about this show more component is that it showcases a lot of what makes React hard to deal with. and that's just kind of like interacting with the DOM at all. And so you end up having to do a bunch of kind of wild stuff to actually interact with the DOM using a React component. And it's showcased by this, where you're, actually need to get the size and calculate and, the scroll, all that stuff. So that's what we were working on. Probably going to shift gears now, though. Join the dark side. Yeah. I mean, Twitch seems more fun, maybe. I don't know. I need to figure out like kind of like how to do like the actual fun stuff on Twitch. Um, oh, interesting. I'll have to check that out. I'll look at the VOD and see what's going on. That could be, again, I have like this totally scuffed setup today, so it could be, I don't know, weird. Let's see. Git add dot git commit m git push. What else is there? Yeah, yeah. Add a force there, and then you're good. Just force push, whatever I have goes. Let's see. Yeah, knowing how to alias Git was a huge leap for me as a developer. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's see, Chantastic dot files. Is that where they are? Got all my dot files here. I gotta say, I should have done more of this on stream, but I set up this massive setup script. I guess not too massive compared to like some others, where I have set up so many computers or so many Macs over the years. It's like I'm never doing. This is the last time I do it, and so I figured out how to basically just set up a machine and get going, and it's great. I love it. So if you're looking for something similar, I got that here. I do have some Git config in here that I haven't looked at in a while, but it might be worth looking at some of these aliases too. So what do? I have actually, before we go into that, let's see, ZSH functions. I have a G function, which I love. Let's open this up in Warp. Oh, I could have used I missed an opportunity to use my hyper key. I'm gonna do it. Hyper T terminal. Oh, stupid. Yeah. So if I go into let's actually just open up these dot files. Oop. Okay, so if I use G, I'm using this Git function here. What it does is it will run Git status, I think, by default, unless I have some kind of other arguments. So if I just do G, I get a Git status for all the stuff that's in there, which is great. I use G all the time. And then if I do GG, I get the train tracks. So anyway, so I have that function that allows me to just use G, which is great. And then if I go into git config, all my aliases are set up here. So what is this? G does this. I don't know if y'all have seen this, but the log dash dash graph dash dash pretty format, a bunch of nonsense, gets you some train tracks. Now, this is my personal. So I don't have any merges here. Let's see if I can open something else. Sites. Any merges? No merges. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So if we go far enough, you can see there's a visualization in the log for all of the merges. I love this. This is one of my favorite things. I kind of forget that this isn't how logs look by default, because it's so good. It should be the default. What is just standard git log? Git log. Oh, that's horrifying. It's horrifying. Terrible. Shameful. I hate this. Nothing to love here. Yeah, nothing to love. Yeah, curious what you all got going in your Git. Git, because I don't know. I like mine. There's a challenge here, right, where you have pull, like push and pull are both P, right? So, L, I went with L for pull. but then P for push. Technically, it should be U. I don't know. I just had to choose. Uh, it's what it is. Uh, yeah, the repo is great. Actually, let's talk about this real quick. I didn't realize that we were going to be talking. No, RCM thought. Oh, Thoughtbot. So when I was doing a lot of Rails development, there's this company called Thoughtbot that I just really loved. I thought they were doing really, they were putting out really great tutorials and whatnot for Rails. And they have this tool that they use to organize their dot files, which I absolutely love. It's called RCM. It comes with 4 functions, and they're great. So you basically start with whatever dot files are in your kind of directory here, and then so like I have config and carabiner, right? I think I already loaded it, but we'll just do this anyway. So with RCM installed, I can say make RC and add the not sure why it's not auto completing that. So add my config carabiner JSON. As a similar. Okay, so I've already done it, so it's not going to do that. What this would have done, had I not already done it, is change that file in my user directory to a symlink, and then put that inside of a whatever dot or like a dot files directory, which is where mine are. So dot files, I have all those, and then those live on GitHub. So all of my stuff is symlinked to this folder that is on GitHub, which you saw already. And so then all I have to do is just like if those files change, I can do like RC up to kind of update them and whatnot. I can remove them. I can list all the RCs. So ls RC, see all the files that are inside or that are symlinks to the dot files folder. Huge fan of this. I think it's really good software. Yeah, big fan of that. Yeah, so anyway, it allows me to kind of make that those dot files super transferable and bring them from system to system. Let's see. Git C is alias to git commit M. Oh, yeah, like that for sure. My favorite most used Git alias is AC. Git add capital A and commit. I like that. What's the capital A again? I'm actually very bad at the options, the flags for Git. Git, what is it? Git add options. I guess we can find that in Git add help. Is that, yeah. Okay, cool. So what's the capital A? Capital A, all. Ooh. Easy, nice. Update the index not only where the working tree has a file matching path spec, but also where the index already has an entry. Okay, very nice. I like that. That's good. Good stuff. I learned something. Thank you. Let's see. And then also, let's see, yeah, commit message. Okay, nice. Is this the whole alias? Like just commit message? So just have like hundreds of like commit messages. That'd be nice. Awesome. Add all modified files. Nice. I like that. Nice. That's good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, so I'm kind of curious. I'm gonna wrap this up in like maybe 10-15 minutes, but I'm curious to get your take on this. So I was thinking through what beginner Git content would look like. I'm curious if this makes sense to you. Something that I have been more and more aware of. So I've been trying to learn a little bit more SQL myself. Just because it's one of those areas where I just don't have a lot of insight into. I've used ORMs for as long as I've been building web applications, and so I'd like to know a little bit more about SQL, kind of like raw SQL, and augment my understanding there. Um, and as I was taking notes on SQL, I was realizing that it was really helpful for me to think about like what's the creation, what's the update, and like what's the destroy, like what's the CRUD operations on like any given like concept. And so I was kind of thinking of doing something similar with Git. And if we did it with Git, I was kind of thinking that it would look like CRUD operations on creating, updating, and deleting local repositories. Then commits, and then like staged diffs. So like things that you're like organizing for commit. And so then each of these would kind of like have their own kind of like create, update, destroy branches, and then moving into stashes, merges, and then working with remote repositories, and then kind of like, and then this doesn't follow that same kind of create, update, destroy, but like syncing commits, branches, and repositories. So yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking in terms of like the base content. And you can kind of see some of these. This is also available. Chan.dev whip git course. I can paste that in. Yeah, curious. Like, so it sounds like aliases are super helpful, but then I was kind of curious, like, what other additional like things one might consider. So, like cherry pick feels like a super important concept to me because it's the way that you move commits, between branches and whatnot. I really like that one. Use it all the time. Rebase, specifically like rebase with squash and tied in with fix up commits. Love fix up commits. Using a ref log. I'm curious if you use this a lot, but like I mostly use that to find the commits that I want to cherry pick. That custom logger, I feel like that just needs to. It's like a copy paste one time in your config. Like, and maybe that's the lesson. Like, hey, put this in your config and use this instead of git log, because git log is tragic. Let's see. Global config. I feel like that is a big one. And then setting up a git ignore and then git clean. It's so funny. I don't actually I could never describe what git clean does, but it's something that I use all the time. Like git clean -f to just like remove files that are, what would that be? Files that are like not indexed, maybe? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, curious your considerations, your thoughts on that. Yeah, so this would be this would largely be like Git for beginners. So like someone who has never used Git before is kind of the idea of this, and to kind of get their fingers on every piece of like a regular workflow that you would need to know in order to be proficient. Probably wouldn't get into like I said, any of these topics like down here, because those feel like more like advanced workflowy type things. But like I didn't even put git bisect on here just because it's like such a complicated, I find it complicated because you just have to like know a lot, but it's like so useful. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, beginner based. All right, I think I'm getting ready to call it. I hate that I don't do these very often, and so like my stamina is a lot less. My brain just kind of like shut off a little bit though. Yeah, using Git as a team member is important, and so like I kind of had these like ideas for next, and one of them was like practical Git for open source collaboration. I think that is like, I mean, tags, releases, branches, forks, merges, like that stuff's crazy, but it's really like GitHub, right? Or like GitLab, or like a Git provider, like plays a pretty intricate role in how that actually happens. So I think that would be kind of like a big part of that. again, debugging with Git is where like, bisect and rebase and all that kind of stuff would come in. Um, man, GitHub CLI, there's so many cool things. But yeah, beginner for sure. Yeah, Git in open source is a different ballpark for sure. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'm curious if there's anything specific in like that you would I'm curious if there's anything that's not covered in this course outline that feels like would be required to be like a good team participant, or if this outline seems to be enough for that. Always hard to say. Okay, I think I'm gonna wrap it. We it's so funny, we went through so many like completely different veins. I think my next step though, I really want that component, this component right here, this show more component, to be a really great demonstration of how to incorporate accessibility like from the ground up. And I think it already showcases the challenges in React of building components that interact with the browser. But I'd like to take it further and make it a component that you actually demonstrates like true working in in on like inclusive, like challenging interactive components, because we just don't have a lot of like content in that space. It's like, hey, yeah, learning React is one thing, but then also like learning a totally different style of user experience, totally different thing. So anyway, if you have thoughts on someone that I should speak to about how to kind of tune a component like this to power users of assistive technologies, let me know, because I would absolutely love their help on that. And maybe I could even make a video out of it. That'd be sweet. But yeah, that'd be great. Let's see, potentially different pattern like trunk based Git. Ooh, I'm gonna hit you up about trunk based Git. Yeah, I have questions. Okay, cool. I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. If you're not, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're not already subscribed, subscribe, and I'll, get some more videos out as I produce them. And then, follow on Twitch, all that stuff. I appreciate you. Thank you for making this time more fun than it would have been if I was just sitting here banging my head against the wall. That's it. Awesome. Arthur, hey, good to see you. Can't leave without saying good hello to you. Good to see you. Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's always a hassle to get going. Go. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Good to see y'all. If you wouldn't mind, cheers. Yes, thank you. Good to see you. Yeah, if I can find the window to close this stream, I'm done. Hasta luego. Oh, never streaming with one screen ever again. All right, bye friends. See you later.